Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Heat competitive but unable to finish in 115-112 loss to Suns. This time, the Miami Heat survived the third quarter. What they couldn't handle was the fight to the finish. Not with Kevin Durant on the other side. And, so, it remains a season still in search of a quality win, Erik Spoelstra's team falling to 3-4 with a 115-112 loss Wednesday night to the Phoenix Suns at Footprint Center. Despite a 28-point performance by Tyler Herro, a 15-point lead built in the third quarter, and an unexpected bench boost from Haywood Highsmith, the Heat lacked enough to stop the Suns from moving to 7-1. While Herro was the lone Heat starter to score 20 or more, the Suns got 32 points from Durant, 22 from Devin Booker and 20 from Jusuf Nurkic. By contrast, the Heat endured a night when center Bam Adebayo shot 5 of 21, albeit with a 12-point, 12-rebound double-double, and got just 15 points from Jimmy Butler and 7 from Terry Rozier. Those struggles were somewhat offset by 19 points from Highsmith. The Heat's six-game trip continues Friday night against the Denver Nuggets. 1. Closing time, the Suns led 26-25 after the first period, with the Heat then taking a 58-55 lead into the intermission. From there, the Heat moved up 15 in the third quarter and went into the fourth up 87-84. While the Suns eventually would go up 5 midway through the final period, the Heat would bounce back to tie it only to see Bradley Beal put the Suns up 106-103 with 3:52 to play. From there, a Durant 12-foot jumper put Phoenix up 108-103. A Butler dunk drew the Heat within 108-105, only to see Durant score on the other end to keep the Suns' lead at 5. A pair of Rozier free throws got the Heat within 110-107 with 61 seconds left, only to see Durant get to the line for 2 free throws of his own with 44.8 seconds to play. Highsmith followed with a three-point play to get the Heat within 112-110 with 33.2 seconds left. Durant again countered, this time with a 21-foot jumper with 16.8 seconds left for a 114-110 Suns lead. A Herro layup moved the Heat within 114-112 with 10 seconds to play. Off a timeout, Booker got to the line with 4.8 seconds to play, missing the first and making the second for a 115-112 Suns lead. With a chance to tie with a three-pointer off their last timeout with those 4.8 seconds to play, the Heat were unable to get a shot off before the expiration of time. 2. Alternate reality. In the wake of consistently shaky play in the third quarter of the opening 6 games, Heat coach Erik Spoelstra this time shook up his lineup coming out of halftime. After starting Herro, Butler, Adebayo, Rozier and Nikola Jovic for the 7th time in as many games this season, Spoelstra opened the second half with Highsmith starting in place of Jovic. Jovic played a single stint in the first half, with 4 points and 5 rebounds in 5:16. Highsmith then came out with 5 points in the first 2:45 of the third period, with his 7th point of the period putting the Heat up 78-67 and leading to a Suns timeout. Still, it wasn't exactly sustained third-quarter success, with Phoenix closing the period with a 15-3 run. 3. Where time, Spoelstra continued to tinker with his rotation, again necessitated with Jamie Jaquez Jr. out for a second consecutive game with a stomach illness. This time it was Pelle Larsson and Highsmith first off the Heat bench. Duncan Robinson also entered in the first quarter as part of a 9-deep rotation in the opening period. But the surprise was first-round pick Kel'el Ware, the center taken number 15 out of Indiana in June, playing as the first big man off the bench. Heat opens long 6-game trip with loss to Suns. Takeaways and details from the defeat. 5 takeaways from the Miami Heat's 115-112 loss to the Phoenix Suns, 7-1, on Wednesday night at Footprint Center to begin a long 6-game trip. The Heat, 3-4, continues its trip on Friday against the Denver Nuggets at Ball Arena. It appeared the Heat was on its way to beginning its challenging trip with a quality win. But another second-half collapse stopped that from happening. The Heat pulled ahead by 15 points, with 3:13 left in the third quarter. That's when the Suns started to make their push, closing the period on a 15-3 run to cut the deficit to 3 entering the fourth quarter. That set up a competitive back-and-forth fourth quarter, as the Heat and Suns traded punches throughout the period. The Suns pulled ahead by 4 points on a Kevin Durant three-pointer with 7:04 to play. But the Heat then responded by taking back the lead, going up by 2 points on a Tyler Herro jumper with 4:53 left. The Suns controlled the game from there, though, going on a 7-0 run to take a 5-point lead with 2:53 remaining. Miami trailed the rest of the way. The Heat cut the deficit to 2 points with 33.2 seconds to play, but couldn't get the necessary defensive stop to put itself in position to force overtime or win the game. Instead, Durant hit a 21-foot contested jumper over Heat forward Haywood Highsmith to extend the Suns' lead to 4 with 16.8 seconds left. Herro went on to make a layup to trim the deficit to 2 points with 10 seconds remaining, keeping the Heat's hopes alive. After intentionally fouling Suns guard Devin Booker to preserve the clock, Booker made just one of the 2 free throws to give the Suns a 3-point advantage with 4.8 seconds on the clock. But with one final chance to force overtime, the Heat never got a shot off on the final possession of the game. After Jimmy Butler inbounded the ball to Terry Rozier, the Suns trapped Rozier to force him to throw a rushed pass that led Butler inside the 3-point line. Needing a 3 to tie the score, Butler hesitated before pulling back, running behind the 3-point line and passing the ball to Herro as the final buzzer sounded. I think the only play at that point would have been for Butler to shoot the 3, Heat coach Eric Spoelstra said of coming up empty on that final possession. There was a little bit of zig and zag and then we ended up running out of time. But we'll be better with that. Paul Pierce's bold Jimmy Butler Warriors take amid potential 2025 Miami departure. Although the Miami Heat has seen significant success with Jimmy Butler on the team, there has been speculation and rumors about Butler's possible availability in the trade market in the near future. While there haven't been any indications that the Heat are looking to move him, nor has Butler indicated that he wants to be traded, teams such as the Houston Rockets have begun to monitor Butler's situation in Miami. Celtics legend Paul Pierce believes that Jimmy Butler would be a perfect addition to the Warriors or Bucks instead of a young team like the Rockets should he and the Miami Heat look to part ways in 2025, per his comments on the most recent edition of Ticket and the Truth. Like Houston, I like where they are already. They developing, Pierce said. They fought last year at the end of the year for a playoff spot or a play-in spot. So it was showing me they got better. So, I want to keep that on schedule right now. I got the necessary veterans I need. I don't need an older player just to make the playoffs. He continued, like Jimmy to like Golden State, or Jimmy to Milwaukee, or, something like that would make a little more sense to me. If I'm 35, I want to go somewhere where I got a chance for a chip at this point, that I can help a team get over the top. That I could add to that got these ingredients like a couple more seasonings away from like, this gonna be it. Butler joined the Miami Heat during the 2019 offseason, having spent roughly half a season with the Philadelphia 76ers following his early season trade from the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Heat have found immense success with Butler, making the NBA Finals in 2020 and 2023 and clinching an Eastern Conference Finals berth in 2022. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Jimmy Butler? Leave your opinion in the comments.